Welcome back to IGN at Gamescom now. Blasphemous is an incredibly gruesome-looking, pixelated game that clearly is pulling from a lot of influences that are near and dear to us. Here to tell us about it, Enrique Colinet and my good friend Brian Altano.
What's up?
This is a game. Can we just get some footage up real quick because I love to look at it.
Yeah.
It's incredibly gruesome, clearly pulling from some Castlevania. It's got some.
Yeah, some bits of Metroidvania games, some bits of Dark Souls games. So we're trying to appeal to all these fans,
These are my languages right now.
Yeah.
This is what I like to hear.
No, this is like chocolate and peanut butter. This is a good setup right
and
here.
blood.
Yeah, lots of blood.
Yes.
So you showed a demo at E3, which had sort of like a little cutscene in the middle of it where the main character takes off his helmet and fills it with blood and then starts drinking the blood.
No, come on. Well, almost,
Or
but
he
no.
He puts it.
So there is a way to make it even more metal, right? But no, it doesn't do that. So that's kind of like your, how you said, like when you have this baby, you take it to the church and then you do this.
A baptism, yeah.
A baptism,
Okay.
baptism of blood.
Wow, it is.
Oh.
This is a blasphemous game. I'm into it.
Baptism of Blood almost sounds like the name of a Castlevania
metal.
or a heavy
Oh.
metal game. Yeah, totally. This is obviously pulling from classic Castlevania games. Is obviously something you definitely grew up playing.
Yes.
You mentioned Dark Souls. Is there a specific era of Castlevania or that was some of your favorites that you could say you've kind of leaned on for inspiration here?
Well, sure, especially from the Symphony of the Night era.
Yep.
So we were deeply influenced by this, this specific game. I've been playing it a lot. I'm a huge Castlevania fan. I have a huge collection. So it was a blast to work on a game that was based on that genre. It was
awesome.
a dream come true.
No, that's I'm a huge Castlevania fan as well. So seeing that makes me really happy. The animation's awesome. The pixel art is amazing.
Yeah.
Were there any other sort of things from pop culture that inspired the look of this game? Obviously, there's a lot of almost classic paintings, almost like crucifixion paintings.
Yeah, actually, we're coming from a city in South Spain, which is called Sevilla, and we have been deeply influenced by religious themes and traditions, but they are more old traditions, music, paintings, and writing. But at some point we thought, okay, we've seen Japanese and Chinese doing these games with their traditions, turning this folklore into games. Why don't do something similar with the Spanish one? It's dark as hell. I mean, Sevilla was the headquarters for the Spanish Inquisition, so we had all the references around the corner.
Now we're both art school guys. I'm curious, was there any specific art that you pulled from? Because there's no shortage of religious art out there.
What do you mean with that?
Just like paintings or
Well, maybe painters like Murillo or Goya, which are Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah,
So we
I
took
totally see that now.
Yeah, the day we released the art book, people will see concept art that look, like real paintings. Although we had to turn that into pixel art, so we lose a lot of detail in that.
Well,
in that transition.
I would argue that you do gain a lot of detail in a different direction because that's traditionally pixel art up until things started to get a little bit more horrific with stuff like Castlevania was hoppy boppy, fun platforming, colorful, vibrant, kids stuff. And so to take a lot of those themes and bring them over here, it's very wonderful to see. Now tell me about the character a little bit because I really dig what's going on with this dude. He has this cone head that's surrounded in a crown of thorns almost.
Yes.
He's a very tortured soul. Is he okay?
So no, probably not. So he doesn't talk too much in the game. Actually, it's one of those mute characters. So things happen around him. So you are the penitent one. So you are the last member of a brotherhood called the Brotherhood of the Silent Sorrow.
Oh.
And you are in a mission to find the source of this evil thing that floats around the world of Custodia, which is the place where the action is taking place. So you had to find the source of this thing, which we call the miracle, which is something that it's kind of like the Force in Star Wars. It affects everything and everyone in the world in different ways.
Oh, wow.
So you had to find that, do something with that because that's a spoiler.
Oh, that's awesome. Now we saw wall jumping there.
Yes.
Obviously, verticality and traversal play a huge role in games like this. What sort of maneuvers can players expect to unlock throughout the game?
Yeah.
Without spoiling too much, of course.
No, that's fine. We feature like a wide variety of combat mechanics because we figured out that was kind of like one of the most important pillars of the game. But also we feature some vertical mechanics, like for example wall climbing. Since the game is non-linear and you can revisit areas, since it's taking inspiration from Metroidvania games. We needed some ways to explore the way more deeply. Like for example, in this specific area, we introduced this mechanic. But what else do we have? I cannot remember. We could do. Shit. Now everything is coming to my mind, and I don't know how we're to start.
No, it's totally cool, man.
But yeah, we have our big pillar was the combat, but also we have exploration. So the game really rewards exploration. If you're struggling with one area, you can just say, okay, I'm done with this area. I want to backtrack, and that's it. I want to get better. I want to improve my character. I want to get upgrades, and then maybe later I will come back to to kill those guys and get to the top.
Awesome. Now, earlier we saw sort of a cutscene, this like beautiful animated thing, which felt more like it felt more like something from like another world. Like it was very
like literally another world, the game, or
well, not another world, the game, but it's not the kind of thing we usually see in Metroidvanias. I feel like usually all the kind of storytelling is done through sort of like lower third, dialogue boxes.
Yeah.
How frequently does that pop up? Does these animated sequences happen?
So we feature a few ones. I don't know the exact number, but we have some for the key moments of the game. And obviously, since our commitment was to go for the pure pixel art style, that meant that if we wanted to feature like cutscenes in the game, we had to do it in pixel art. So as well with the bosses, for example, they are huge and they have to be animated frame by frame, also pixel art. So we are not using any hybrid technique. We're not using like fancy shaders or fake 3D. Everything is pixel art.
Oh. Now, one of my favorite things to do in games like this is to break walls and smash into things and open up things. Is this a game you can 100%? Like, is there a percentage counter?
You know, I'm a Castlevania fan, so
of course.
What to expect?
Yes,
of course.
I just needed to hear you say it because that makes me very, very.
Sure. I know how this works. So the Castlevania fans will expect, okay, if I get to the final boss, I want to stop there. I want to say, hey, just wait for me. I have things to do in some areas behind. So of course that's allowed. And
now, I think right here we have some exclusive gameplay of a boss fight.
Whoa!
Is this Our Lady of the Charred Visage?
Oh my God!
Good Lord.
So for the
you're fighting this? Who is this character in the foreground? Is that the lady?
Yeah, it's actually like a saint that died in the top of the convent. You find like at the top of the mountain, you find a convent. Here, you fight this final boss, this gruesome final boss. So we feature like around 7 areas in the game. All of them have this final boss that is huge. But that doesn't mean that there are only 7 final bosses. There are other bosses that you find in the middle of certain areas.
I'm overwhelmed with joy right now. This is exactly what I want to see.
So metal.
It's also. Did I just catch like a bouncing the ball back with the sword mechanic like from Link to the Past?
Yeah, sometimes in certain situations you can deflect certain projectiles. I'm not promising you that you can deflect everything. Like for example, that laser beam.
Sure.
That would be too easy.
Or for example, that magic one cannot be deflected. But there are some like especially physical ones that you can deflect with the sword. The sword is a key element of the game. This is why we feature only one weapon. Because it's a key element. It's a key narrative element.
We saw sort of a skill tree earlier. Can you talk a little bit about that? If there's only one sort of key weapon?
Yeah, so you find that the sword is called Mea Culpa, which is, I think the translation will be my guilt. Right?
Yeah.
So you find these altars along the game, and in these altars you can power up the sword, so it gets a bit more powerful, and also you can unlock new abilities, new ways to express yourself in combat. So for example, you will unlock the vertical attack, a charge attack, a projectile actually that it's your own blood. Of course, you have to catch yourself and throw your blood. You have also a thrust attack, so you can attack several enemies in a row. Not all the special attacks are convenient in every moment. Some of them are actually will put you in a dangerous situation.
We are so close to killing this boss right now.
Yes.
I'm so excited. This is like one of the coolest. This is awesome. Oh my God. Yes.
What is that?
Well, that's not blood.
This is metal as hell. I love it.
Yes.
This rules so hard. How do you come up with a creature like this? Like, what was that, man?
It's around the corner in our city.
Really?
No,
He's just
really.
like a local dude that's in
Things
the neighborhood?
like for example, this one. You can visit some churches in Sevilla that are holding the corpse of a certain nun or priest from like hundreds of years ago. Actually, every year in our cathedral, you can see the corpse, the uncorrupted corpse of one of our kings from like 300 years ago. And it's pretty small right now because it shrinks with the time. You know? But yeah, we are so used to this kind of things, dark things in our city, that we don't even realize how dark and twisted it is sometimes. But when you see the game with the eyes from someone that is not from Spain, you start realizing, holy shit, it's dark.
No,
it's twisted.
I was gonna say, Enrique, you're like a very warm, nice man. You're like jovial. You're laughing a lot, and then you're like, "Here's my game," and it's like, "Oh my god, this is a lot." I love it.
No, because I in Germany now, so I don't have to behave like a dark, twisted person.
Of course.
Now, I've got to ask you, the game is called Blasphemous. Have you had any, like, kind of...
backlash or something, or problem with that? Actually, we have these brotherhoods in our city with hundreds of penitents that wear these cone-shaped hats, and because that's something that happens in our city every year. We have these parades with penitents. And actually, we know some of them that like video games. I was like, love it.
Really?
Yeah, we love this thing. I mean, because it's kind of like homage to everything that has been like thrown to us since we were kids. It's part of our culture. It's part of who we are. But we wanted to express ourselves in a way that was not done before. We didn't want to compose a new flamenco song. We didn't want to write a book. We wanted to make a video game because we are developers, and it ended being this, Blasphemous.
Hell yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
Spanish folklore filtered through 16-bit gruesome Metroidvania.
It rules.
That is badass.
No, that's like, thank you so much for making a game like this. This is like I've been saying, this is extremely my kind of game.
It looks awesome.
Then look, even the map right there.
Yeah,
I'm like, yep, that's where I want to explore every part of this game.
Beautiful. What platforms is it coming to, and when is it going to be released?
Yeah, so it's releasing on 10th of September, like in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, it's around the corner. And it's going to be released on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Switch. All of them,
Beautiful.
same day.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming by. We have so much more Gamescom coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere.